Hello, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your time. This is Oleg Shilovitsky with OpenBOM. I'm CEO and co-founder of OpenBOM, and today we are going to talk about multiple bill of materials. If you ever heard these questions, what is the EBOM, MBOM, XBOM, any BOM, and how to manage all these bill of materials in the organization, I hope by the end of this 30 minutes you will get a little bit more understanding of how to answer on those questions and how to manage multiple bill of materials in the organization. And will give you ideas how you can improve existing processes in the organization related to bill of materials and how to build a new one if you're in the process of implementing new systems or building new processes. And before I start to speak about bill of materials, I want to speak about language. And the question that people are often asking in organization is about what is the master and how to communicate in the organization between different people. So you probably heard and read about Alice in Wonderland. So there are so many words, and there are so many words about bill of materials that can help you to explain, but unfortunately also to confuse with regards to what happens in the organization. And if you never heard about this, I would be surprised, because every organization I am coming, people can say I have design BOM and then I have engineering BOM, and it's not the same. But then there is a manufacturing BOM and planning BOM and purchasing people asking about something else. So all these conversations about different bill of materials, sometimes it's just it's just a matter of words and understanding what is behind this. Because to be honest, it's not unusual that organization and departments are using different terminology for things that are similar. So how to avoid these conversations, and how to bring clarity in these conversations. And in order to start bringing clarity, I want to start from the typical organizational view of bill of materials. So take a look on this chart. Bill of materials are everywhere, but if you will speak to different people in organization, they will be speaking, and they need different things. So in my example, you can see that engineering will be thinking about one representation of data, while manufacturing will be thinking about something else and using different structures. And the data in engineering doesn't match always, or doesn't match completely in entire for manufacturing. And then sales will have their own way to present an information about product and to present specific characteristics of the product. So sales will use a different bill of material representations. Maintenance people will have their own things, because what companies, customers, and manufacturing see in maintenance, it's significantly different from engineering. And finally, but most importantly, customer would like to see their own view, and they also getting information about product. So how often you've seen the user manuals or maintenance manuals that doesn't match exactly the product that you purchased? That's a result of inaccurate management of bill of materials across all value chain, across all structure and departments of the organization. And in the modern manufacturing world, these things are even more connected than ever. And to understand how to manage this information, it's very important. And to get some practical recommendations how to do it's also very important. So let's start from what I call a traditional siloed bill of material management. So why I call it traditional and why I call it siloed is because in this way, every organization is working on a particular aspect of the product. And again, connecting to the previous slide, we get engineering, manufacturing, maintenance, sales, and customer. And so many times I've seen how companies are working in isolation. And the reason for this is very often a very good reason, because the people are taking responsibilities on the information that they are producing. So if the engineering is responsible for design, they're taking responsibility for their results, and they need to deliver those results in a certain way that then it will be coming to manufacturing. And on the other side, manufacturing are doing their planning. And when they do this planning, they don't want somebody to interfere with what they do. So very often silos are built by people. They just don't want to be affected by somebody else's work. And unfortunately, but very true, this is the main reason why companies are getting in the silos, because everyone is looking on their own kind of work that they need to do, and the efficiency of the systems are not sufficient to help them to communicate, and everyone ends up with their own, I'm sorry to say, Excel spreadsheets, because I have my Excel and you have your Excel. And in this case, the main question that in this situation you can hear in the organization about managing multiple bill of materials, the main question is actually who is controlling bill of materials. So sometimes this question sounds very ugly, and sometimes it is a little bit fight in the organization that can happen between different people, different departments, different responsibilities. So who is controlling the BOM? And because very often nobody wants to give up on control, it ends up with silos. But the question is how to prevent it. And in my experience, to prevent the situations and prevent organization from going in silos is, first of all, start from planning of processes and planning of data flows in the organization. So let's take a look on this slide. So what you can see here is a structure of how data is distributed in the organization, and what are those different BOM flavors that you can hear by saying the engineering BOM, manufacturing BOM, planning BOM, etc. So I will go from left to right in this diagram to show you actually what are these data silos or data domains inside of organizations. So everything starts from requirements. Requirements are a fundamental piece because it gives an idea about what you want to do. And these days, it's even more important because systems are getting and products are getting very complex. And to plan them, to have a structured set of requirements is important. Then design. Design is another domain of information. But what was before usually only mechanical design, today it's much more complex and sophisticated structure, because in design you have a mechanical systems, mechanical design system, you have electronic design, you also have software, because each product today is a lot of software. And these domains are creating a specific set of information that can be presented and structured in a certain way that together they organize a design structure of the product, and sometimes people call it design bill of materials. Moving from multiple design or multidisciplinary design structure. Engineering is a certain way of transition of everything that's done in design into production planning. So this is the place where information is absorbed and collected from different engineering organizations, and preparation is started for the planning. It's very often engineering BOM, an engineering structure is used for planning and different manufacturing planning. Sometimes it happens with the multiple manufacturing facilities. Sometimes it happens with the different contract manufacturing facilities. So it's a lot of work usually done in planning in order to present information and in order to present information to manufacturing and do manufacturing. Also, bear in mind, I've tried to simplify this picture in order to make it too complex, but this information going back and forth. So the days when engineering was sending information to manufacturing and forgetting about this is actually over. It's in the past. And today there are a lot of communication and a lot of interaction between engineering and manufacturing. And that's why this planning space is extremely important. And managing a bill of materials in this planning place is very important to not to miss specific characteristics and not to miss specific parts and materials that needs to be in bill of materials and in the product. And then we go into manufacturing. Manufacturing by itself responsible for manufacturing BOM and manufacturing planning BOM. But at the end, it comes to what very often called as build BOM, or sometimes called serialized BOM, when the product that you build will have serial numbers. Sometimes it's serial number only on the top product, but sometimes there are serial numbers on assemblies and sub-assemblies. So in this case, the structure will represent product as it was built. Moving forward, or in parallel in manufacturing and procurement is getting also a very specific view, a specific representation of data that actually needed for ordering to get right quantities and to get right products that needs to be going to right parts that needs to go to procurement. Extremely important. Even more important in every product to get long lead items in the procurement and the planning. So to have this information structured in the right way and created in the right way and the right time, it's extremely important. Otherwise, you will be waiting for the parts and your planning will not be successful to the delivery date. And then at the end, the product that is delivered to a customer also has bill of materials, because this is a different bill of materials that can be used for support and maintenance purposes. Customers needs to buy maintenance parts. Companies need to provide information about what is actually in every product. This is another very complex field where information needs to be presented, exposed to customers, but also be in sync and reflect the real product, comparing how product was designed, engineered, and manufacturing. And then an entire process is going in cycles, depends on the type of manufacturing, it depends on the type of the product. But what you can see, it's a lot of domain. Each of these domains is slightly different and require a different data representation. So what are the challenges if you're dealing with such complex structure of information? As you know, each of these domains, so very often it's different department, are using their own systems. They might use their own system, and when it comes to bill of materials and information, one of the challenges is actually bill of material transfer. You finished work in design, how you create engineering BOM. You finish your engineering BOM, how you transfer data to manufacturing. The transfer of information is important because each system might have a different data representations, or how we usually say data models. So transferring information is extremely painful, but at the same time, it's absolutely important. The second thing is how to keep item data about parts in bill of materials in sync, because the changes are happening in different systems. And to prevent data from going out of sync, or to prevent data not to be transferred at the right time, this is a problem that can lead to many problems in manufacturing, many problems in production, and then problems to customers. And if you think about different domains of data, like on this picture, you can have a PDM, PLM, ERP system, and CAD systems. How to keep this data consistent between different silos? This is another big challenge of multiple bill of material management. So with this high level of complexity, how organizations can manage multiple bill of materials? So today I am going to give you three main options that I've seen in organizations about how data can be organized to manage multiple bill of materials. So, and the first one is what I call single product structure, and it's very often I've heard it as a company dream, because we would like to have a single structure of information, and the single structure of information will be called bill of materials, and everyone will be able to consume a particular pieces of this bill of materials in the right way. So the demand for single product structure is huge, and to manage it, it's not a simple thing, and very often it's related also to organization and to organization processes. Therefore, I usually say the single product structure is a dream, but organizations inside have their own challenges internally related to people, organization, processes to come to this single product structure. So when you think about single product structure as a very good idea, it can be very complex to achieve it as a goal. But if you would like to go there, and I certainly recommend you to go there, you need to start from the organization. So you need to start from organization. You need to start from how processes are organized in your company, how you work with different contractor suppliers, and how they're getting access to data. Without this, it will be very hard to get to the single product structure. The second way is that it's called role-based views. There are sometimes different names, but the purpose of this is that actually information is siloed. So you have engineering BOM, design BOM, support BOM, production BOM, regulation BOM. You will have all these different pieces of information. They somehow will be connected, but in fact, everyone will be working on the views of information. So each one will go to the system through the particular set of views, and this set of views will define what will be information in each particular bill of materials. So the third option that I've seen in many organizations is that systems are integrated in the way so data is existing in each system, and sometimes this data slightly different because data representation in CAD and PLM will be different from data representation in ERP. And then there is some form of integration that bringing this data between one system to another system. So if I speak about these three options, while the first one, single product structure, is the most visionary, the last one, integration, is the most pragmatic. But as I can say, there is no single right way to do it, because each company is different, with different processes and different set of tools. So today, as an example, I'm going to show you how data can be managed and how different bill of materials can be organized in OpenBOM. As an example, so what you can see, what I will demonstrate you, multi-level bill of materials in OpenBOM. So what you will see is a structure of information in OpenBOM. So what you will see now on your screen is a multi-level structure of bill of materials. And what I will be using different planning, different views. So in OpenBOM, you can have different views that will help you to get access to particular set of information. So what you can see now is a planning BOM, and in this planning BOM, you can see that we have information about cost. So this is where purchasing department, purchasing people can use and they can make a calculation of the cost, and they can make ordering of parts. So that would be a planning view. Now, at the same time, I can switch, for example, to engineering bill of materials. And you will see that engineering bill of materials is slightly different, although it still represents the structure of the product. And you see a multi-level structure. You also see some engineering information about files, and you can see some engineering information about projects, and you can see dates, and you can see people that were involved in this engineering and design activities. So this engineering bill of materials will represent to full extent all information, also about how product is built and designed, but also information related to costing and information related to suppliers of the components. Now, let me give you another example. I'm going to another view, which is dedicated to a particular contractor. So, and by switching to another view, OpenBOM will apply particular filters, and I will go and show you those filters. But when those filters will be applied, what you will see is that the data will be filtered. And as you can see now, only partial set of information that belonging to this particular constructor is visible in this view. So you can apply and you can create similar structures of information between different views in OpenBOM. And as you can see now, the view configuration in OpenBOM allows you to define a set of properties that will be presented in each view. So, and also will allow you to define what are filtering mechanisms that will be applied to the data. So what you can see now, I'm opening the view configuration. So you will see a list of properties on the left, but then also you will see a mechanism, the filtering mechanism that will allow you to define how to eliminate some of parts and some of the components and assemblies that in this particular case are not related to this contractor. So, that's the mechanism that allows you, for example, to filter data by particular code. And in this case, I use the sheet metal code. So, and the information is filtered and the information is presented in the way so it's dedicated to this contractor. So I will go back to my presentation. So speaking of examples that I've been bringing. Let me just go back and jump to my slides. So speaking about these examples, what you have seen in my demo is that I created 3 different views. I created 3 different views that OpenBOM allowed to you to define separately on the common set of data that is managed by OpenBOM. So you can see these views here on the slide. So engineering view, planning view, and contractor view. So the data is common and the data is managed in a common way, but data can be filtered and presented and constrained to be presented in the right way to right people and right roles in the organization. So the mechanism that used for these purposes in OpenBOM views is the mechanism that defines what properties, or in other words, columns, will be presented in each view. And the second mechanism is the mechanism of filters that allows you to apply a certain filter on the data that will be presented. So as you can see, the mechanism of filters and the mechanism of property selection. So I would like to give you a quick summary. So there are multiple ways to manage multiple bill of materials in the organization. So let me go with the 4 possible options that I outline in my slide. So there is one very ugly, but still very often happens, is that each department has its own Excel. As much as it sounds strange, you can see it a lot, and that's something that we still have in many manufacturing companies. So the second option that you will have is to use siloed systems. So you will have PLM, ERP, and some other systems, and you will manually synchronize those systems. That synchronization and integrations are complex, and there is a way to export data from one system and bring it to another system. Not saying it's good or bad, but this is the way that many companies are doing, because many of them are thinking that this is the easiest way, because you have a full control of what data is synchronized and when. The third option is also something that becomes more popular with the growing demand for PLM system, is to use one of those systems as a PLM, as a single version of truth about product structure and bill of materials. So all design, engineering, manufacturing, and other bill of materials are integrated together as a single source of data inside of PLM systems, and then integrations or federations are used to bring data from different systems to single PLM system. So the fourth one is evolution of PLM system in what becomes very popular these days is the online SaaS services, and SaaS stands for software as a service, and this is an example of OpenBOM. OpenBOM is a SaaS application that runs in the cloud. So such services capable to manage multiple bill of materials and multiple view structures, and those services are integrated with other systems in different ways to present data and give access to information at the right time to the right people. So there is no one-size-fits-all solution. The decision is usually dependent on a specific company, requirement, existing systems, and many other options. That's why upfront planning is important. So I hope you've learned a thing or two about the multiple bill of materials, and now we probably have a time for a few questions. So the first question that I have is a question about what if we have many Excels in a company and how we can move into a way to manage data in more organized form. So that's, in other words, how to start. So I've seen many companies in this situation. The way to start is usually to come with some sort of data planning. So, and as much as it sounds simple, this is not a simple thing, but you need to create a grand plan of your data. So you need to plan what data you have in organization, what data needs to be available for each department, and how data is transferred. So in a logical form. And if you will come with this plan, then you will be able to define steps in which you can take your Excels and transform it in the different applications. And this stage, you don't even need to decide what application you will be using, because the planning in this case will be more important. So let me see if you have other questions. Okay, no questions for the moment, and we come into the end of the hour. So thank you very much for attending. And if you have any questions that will come later, please feel free to contact us and at support@openbom.com. Thank you very much, and have a great day.